Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
For the first time in probably a very long time, it feels like we finally have some common ground. President Trump's decision to go and basically get rid of the Iranian radical regime, liberate the people of Iran, provide some peace in the Middle East, is actually embraced not only by people on the right, but also the left. And this is kind of phenomenal. Now, where people may or may not disagree is Trump's way of going about it. I personally don't disagree with it. Trump saying, we're going to blow them up like we blew them up the last time. I think that's phenomenal. I love it. I love the way he talks. I love the way he goes about things. And that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So all I ask in return is for you guys to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with a 4-second clip of President Trump doing what he does best. Anyways, yeah, moving on to some more serious topics here. We do have President Trump saying this about Greenland.
On Greenland, sir, the premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the
Who
final
said
word?
that?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with him. I don't know who he is. Don't know anything about him. But that's going to be a big problem for him.
You gotta love it. Oh my goodness. America is actually going to acquire Greenland. And then before we get into Iran, Trump had this to say about fraud.
We're also going to revoke the citizenship of any naturalized immigrant from Somalia or anywhere else who is convicted of defrauding our citizens. We're going to get them the hell out of here fast.
Very good, very good.
And if you come to America to rob Americans, we're throwing you in jail and we're sending you back to the place from where you came. We're throwing you right in jail.
I love it. I love what he's doing with America. But now we're going to get into what's going on with Iran, because it is getting out of control and President Trump is, well, he's laying down the law. Let's have a look.
Now we're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
And this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The end game is to win. I like winning.
How do you define that in Iran?
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out, which is what I said initially. Then some questioned it, and they said, Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.
Yeah, I don't doubt him for a second. If President Trump is saying, hey, you're not allowed to start hanging people, you're not allowed to start killing people, these protesters, what the hell are you doing? Iran better watch out. I don't doubt for a second that America will fuck shit up in Iran if they keep going down this road. And they have the support. President Trump has the support of the left and the right almost unanimously when it comes to this topic. But it's important to note that all of this is actually front-led by the Iranian people that want a regime change. They're the ones that are rising up against this corrupt and absolutely disgusting regime. President Trump is just complementing that with, the mighty force of the United States of America. But what I do love about Trump the most is the fact that he says and does what a normal kind of person would say or do. And in this instance, when somebody gives Trump the finger, he gives it back. Somebody flipped Trump off, so he did it right back. We're going to take a look. Feel free to pause it, but he is actually wording the mouths, F you. F you, and then he walks away and he flips whoever off that was trying to heckle him. There is President Trump giving somebody the middle finger, probably rightfully so. I love it. I love it. It's relatable. It's real. It's authentic. I love it.
Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it is worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Iran says that it will retaliate.
Holy shit, man. You won't ever catch another president talking like that. I got to hear it again.
Intervene in Iran.
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
They said that the last time I blew them up. And you know what? I'll do it again. Oh, my goodness. You don't mess with the United States and you don't mess with President Trump.
You have a message for the leaders currently of Iran.
Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem. And I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
You said to Iran this morning that help is on the way for protesters. What did you mean by that? What kind of help?
You're going to have to figure that one out. I'm sorry.
How many people
have been killed in Iran?
Nobody's been able to give me an accurate number. I have heard numbers from everything's a lot. One is a lot. But I've heard numbers much lower and I've heard numbers much higher. We'll be knowing. We're probably going to find out over the next 24 hours. I think it's a lot. It's too many, whatever.
This is the thing about the media. They think that they're privy to the most sensitive information. Hey, what's your plan, President Trump? Who are you deploying? What resources are you deploying? And what part of Iran are you deploying them to? And specifically what time? Like, how about you just fucking sit back in your comforts of a first world country and you let the president do what the president is going to do, and then you report on it afterwards. But this is where it gets especially interesting. The left and the right are actually uniting over Iran. Let's have a look.
So glad that you could join us at this moment. What do you make of this statement from Trump? What message is he sending to both the regime and to the protesters on the streets?
Well, it's a message that I welcome, first of all. He is doing what I think previous administrations should have been doing for a long time, which is delegitimizing the regime. The United States, I'm just speculating here, the United States may have some on-the-ground intelligence that this could, in fact, be the moment when the regime topples, and it could be the reason why he's getting so forcefully behind the protesters. It could also be simply the case that he's trying to give them moral support, which, again, I think is something that the United States should do. So when he says help is on the way, I suspect he's talking about possibly technology, other mechanisms to enable the protesters to communicate with one another, with the government blocking the internet. He could be talking about, more and tighter sanctions like the Europeans are now talking about. But I think the president is doing the right thing by putting the United States on the side of the demonstrators.
Yeah, it's also going to be boots on the ground, fighter jets, B-52 bombers, the whole shebang. I mean, for crying out loud, this regime is going to change one way or another, whether they like it or not.
To pick up on something that you said, if the regime does topple, what does that mean for American involvement?
Well, first and foremost, it would be a great thing for the region. Iran, for the longest time, has been the most destabilizing force across the greater Middle East, both in and of itself, as well as through the terrorist organizations that it sponsors and funds and equips, like Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad. With regard to American involvement, if the regime topples, I suspect that what the United States could try to do is to gather, help the opposition gather and plot Iran's future. This used to be a pro-Western country. This is a Western-looking country. I think, unlike Venezuela, there is more of a chance of a democratic transition. But we've got a lot of different forces. You know, the son of the Shah would like to take over as the next leader, and he's more in the model of a king. So a lot of uncertainty. But I would think in this volatile and very important region, the United States certainly would see a role for itself in trying to help make as smooth a transition to something peaceful and stable and democratic as possible.
And when that happens, not if, but when, I believe that Iran is going to welcome United States continued involvement for security measures, have United States military bases, intelligence centers on Iranian territory to make sure that peace in the Middle East exists beyond just this regime change, which is honestly going to be the biggest and largest step forward in what the United States is trying to accomplish, which is not global dominance, but it's making sure that it's spread out strategically across the entire world in a way where they can monitor the situation properly. And having more American resources in and around Iran is going to be huge for America and, frankly, for the rest of the world.
Larry, I'm glad you brought up Venezuela because I think a lot of people in their minds are comparing the situations. You know, we all know Trump is interested in Venezuelan oil. What are the U.S. interests in Iran? Is it just to bring that stability to the region, as you say?
Listen, I think it's much more on the stability front than it is in terms of trying to get natural resources out of Iran. They do have an oil sector. We have sanctioned it very tightly. Certainly the country and the wider world would benefit if more of their oil was flowing freely and wasn't subject to sanctions. Basically, the Iranians are only exporting oil to the Chinese at this point. And, you know, as a result, their economy is in terrible shape. But I don't think this is a play by the United States for, you know, going in and seizing anything or trying to capture, you know, valuable minerals, other natural resources. I think this is largely about stability and more peace, and maybe the extension of the Abraham Accords for more peace deals with Israel, maybe more of the side of the Gulf states like, you know, Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Egypt, who have long opposed the destabilizing activity of the Iranian regime over the last more than 40 years.
Larry, glad you could join us today.
We are going to have to wait and see how this does play out, but I do want to pass a question off to you. How do you feel about this? Do you support Trump's involvement in Iran in this regime change? Do you think it's unnecessary? Do you think it's necessary? Let me know where you guys stand. As always, if you enjoyed this video, it'd be super awesome if you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in another one. Bye for now.